how the partnership works in this next half hour. So the first chart is really an overview of what we mean when we talk about endpoint security. So the idea here is that we're providing a white label product. BlueVoyant is our partner. They're doing much of the heavy lifting. And in this partnership, Altice is responsible for marketing, selling, and then invoicing our customers, while BlueVoyant is actually providing the service. So they're going to kick off the provisioning with the customer. They'll configure the software agents with the customer, and they'll turn up the monitoring and the ongoing maintenance of the service with the customer. So we're kind of at the front end and the back end, and BlueVoyant's taking care of everything in the middle. It's important that our customers will trust BlueVoyant because it doesn't say Altice Business or Suddenlink Business. Our customers need to know that BlueVoyant is our partner, so they'll be receiving some email messages that come from a @bluevoyant.com domain, and those are to be trusted. The deals that we're working on, because we're working with a partner, we have to make sure that we don't have any conflict of interest. So the deals have to be registered within Salesforce early on to make sure that they can validate that they don't currently have a relationship. So normal circumstances, the AEs will input, but the channel manager will have that responsibility. A sales engineer is a part of this process because during the consultative approach, there'll be a lot of discussion on software operating systems, what is an endpoint, the types of endpoint the customer has, and what we can protect. So sales engineers have been trained. They have relationships with BlueVoyant, and there will be ongoing training as time goes on. But you do have the support of the sales engineers. In terms of the vocabulary, know that when I say endpoint security, it's the same thing as endpoint managed detection and response. That's like a market phrase, EMDR, but we're calling it endpoint security. And what it is our ability to provide cybersecurity support to our customers by installing a software agent on their workstations, on their endpoints. And then that software agent will communicate through the internet back to a security operations center, a SOC, that is operated by BlueVoyant. And that SOC has a ton of capability to mitigate both current known as well as evolving new cyber threats. And so what we're doing is providing another layer of cybersecurity to our customers in a very efficient and economical way. The product has two flavors. It'll come in the Essentials and Advanced. So while the Essentials is just the basic monitoring with incident remediation, and Advanced has a couple more features that I'll talk about in a chart in a couple of pages. In terms of that software agent that I mentioned gets loaded on the customer's endpoints, we will support three: CrowdStrike, Carbon Black, and Microsoft Defender. It's important to know that we support those three, but it's not so important to know which one. BlueVoyant will talk to the customer about which is the best agent for them, but it doesn't change the price or anything. It's just a technical decision on which is the best agent for that customer. In terms of pricing, there is a minimum price for a minimum quantity of endpoints protected, and then after that, it goes to a tiered pricing model. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we're talking about terms, 1-year term or 3-year term commitment. That's how this is structured. Every sale will have a non-recurring installation charge. There's one charge for the Advanced product, and there's one charge for the Essentials product. So that's just a non-recurring charge with the order. And the last note I put in blue because I'd like to highlight the fact that this product, Endpoint Security, does not require an Altice provided internet connection. It does use the internet because those software agents have to communicate back to the Security Operations Center, but it doesn't have to be over an Altice provided circuit. So,
can I ask you a quick question? Does it have to be in an Altice territory then?
Negative, Scott. So like, say you had a bank, right, that had 50 locations and, you know, all or none of them are in Altice footprint. It doesn't matter, right? Some of them, none of them, all of them, whatever. You could sell to that end customer.
Okay, that's what I was questioning. Like, say they had, 7 locations and 3 were on Altice and 5 were not, and they wanted a complete endpoint security solution. I could still do that under this Altice.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's an over-the-top, Scott, if that helps. It's an over-the-top solution. So as long as they've got internet transport, it doesn't matter who's providing. Obviously, we would prefer to provide it, but it doesn't have to be from us.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura. So why are we excited about this product? Because you're aware of our existing cybersecurity products, which are the managed DDoS protective services, and our SecureNet product, which includes an EPS, but is really an edge protection device, an edge protection solution. So this goes deeper into the customer's LAN, where it actually provides the protection from the endpoint out. So in combination with other cybersecurity protections, this is a very good, robust additional layer of cybersecurity. And in the world of cybersecurity, multi-layer defenses are the best types of defenses. An endpoint is a desktop, a laptop, or a server within the customer's LAN. It's predicated on the operating system that it's running. So I highlight that it is not iOS. We're not protecting iPhones or iPads, but most of these other devices run on Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. And an important note is that it will protect the device even when it's not on the customer's LAN. So in this world of remote offices and remote telecommuting, this protection will protect that endpoint even at the employee's home or other place where they go. So it's a nice protection. It's portable, and it takes advantage of the corporate level security as opposed to home level security. As I mentioned, it's either an essentials or advanced, and I'll talk about the features of each. And it can be sold in conjunction with or not with other products. Lauren said how it could be considered over the top. I put a few bullets here to describe how it's different from SecureNet, and primarily it's different because SecureNet is a protection focused on edge protection where the customer's LAN meets the WAN and any data flowing through that. But as you can understand, as threats have evolved, there have been ways to either get through that defense or get around that defense. And in those cases, endpoint security is an awesome protection to have.
Hey, Bill, question for you. So you mentioned SecureNet. So SecureNet would be more of a managed firewall piece. So this endpoint security is not a replacement for their firewall. The customer still needs that piece in place.
Yes, absolutely. And in the construct of a layered defense, clearly when we talk about our SecureNet and the managed security gateway and the protections that those provide, that's an edge device. It's a firewall, and it's backed. It's a Cisco device. So Cisco has many cybersecurity analysts doing cyber threat hunting, etc., and getting those solutions into that edge device. However, I mentioned there are ways through and around that device, which is where endpoint protection really comes in.
And Bill, another point on this slide, and Scott, you can probably address better than I can. I'm not sure that the audience on this call is very familiar with our DDoS and SecureNet. So if we have time, it might be good to give them kind of a high level and a differentiation between each one of them, right?
Okay.
As a complete security offering that they have at their disposal.
Okay. Okay. If we have a couple minutes at the end, I'll brief that. This chart just foot stomps the comment I made that BlueVoyant is our partner. I provide their URL so that if anyone was interested in reviewing them. But it is their security operations center. They're our trusted partner. They've been given our sales engineers training. They're participating in this training, and they'll be our partners going forward. They do provide the wavelength portal. That's the portal that a customer will have access to see their endpoint security status. And there will be some emails that Blue Voyant will send, for example, from the Security Operations Center to a customer if the customer opens up a ticket, for example. So Blue Voyant is our partner. The value proposition really stems from the existence of the SOC. You know, what we're doing is we're leveraging a security operations center, a mature security operations center that can monitor our customers' traffic in a way that they cannot, and provide the reactive and proactive defenses to enhance their cybersecurity stance. That's what we're doing. Our customers will get the benefit of this without having to hire cybersecurity experts. It will provide the security 7/24. So if our customers, they don't have to worry about weekend or late night or early morning breaches or surveillance. Relatively quick time to install. It's just software, so it's a matter of really that the spool up of this product can be done in as quickly as days and weeks, but it really is predicated on getting that software agent installed on the customer's workstations, servers, etc., and then having the baselining and configuration of policies activated, and then ongoing maintenance from there. So it's a robust solution. It can be timely, and it's provided, you know, all in one from throughout TEAS. So they get one invoice and one face, you know, to look at. I'm about halfway through. I wanted to pause if there were any questions at this point.
No, you're good.
Okay, thanks. In terms of vocabulary, I like this chart because we start to talk about insider threats. We know that many companies will have traditional antivirus, and the idea of an inside, so you know, their endpoint solution today might be a traditional antivirus, and you have the evolution of what's termed the insider threat. So an insider threat is really when someone with access uses that access either inadvertently or overtly to do nefarious tasks. A solution like endpoint protection and endpoint security can protect against those types of threats. And the easiest one I think of is if someone were to plug in a USB stick into their work laptop, you just circumvented the firewall, and potentially a virus could get into your network that way. And endpoint security is a great solution for that kind of a problem. Secondarily, ransomware and phishing are constantly evolving threats. The methods, the URLs, the software used in them constantly evolving, and having the power of a security operations center behind us constantly looking at those changes is a very powerful security defense. So in the context, this chart really shows the difference between traditional antivirus and the next generation antivirus that we're talking about with the Altice Blue Voyant solution. Endpoint security, not to step through each one of them, but again, the idea of having a security operations center monitoring the customer's endpoints. These endpoint agents send information to the SOC, and I'll note it is not proprietary information. There's no PII that gets sent. However, there is system behavioral and you know, what applications are launched type information sent to the SOC so that they can look at the behaviors and the tactics that might be used in a breach, in malware, in order to identify malicious behavior. Secondarily, it's 7/24. So, you know, again, when a company were to buy endpoint, you know, Symantec or Norton Antivirus, the company is responsible for reacting to anything that that antivirus may find. In this case, we have a SOC that can act automatically and on behalf of the client in order to mitigate risks. And that those mitigations could be as simple as killing a bad process, or as broad as quarantining a workstation or a set of computers that are misbehaving. This chart shows the features of the two products. So you can see that the first set are all, whether it's essentials or advanced, it's getting the agent, it's getting the policies set up and ongoing policy update, the malware remediation, living off the land. That's a technique. That's a term for when malicious, when hackers use existing software on your computer that typically is used for good purposes, and they use it for nefarious purposes. So PowerShell is a great example of a standard Windows operating system executable that most times is used for good reasons, but hackers know how to use PowerShell to start to launch malware. So this protection will defend against that. It will do, we both get root cause analyses, and both have access to the client portal. And again, the client portal allows a client to see the status of their security installation. So they could see how many incidents there are, how many alerts there have been, review the quantity of endpoints being monitored, and then dig deeper into each because it's all available. So if there is an incident or an investigation ongoing, through the portal, a client could see exactly the status of that investigation. Finally, the portal can be used to open up queries. So for example, if a customer has an IT manager retire and a new person comes in, the customer can use the Wavelength portal to ask the SOC to change the email address of the IT manager, things like that. Both get the implementation project manager, and know that the Blue Voyant project manager, who does all the client interfacing, works with our SDPM so that the overall install, so for example, if there was a circuit install in conjunction with Endpoint Security, it will all be coordinated through the Altice service delivery project manager, but that person also works with the implementation project manager, the Blue Voyant teammate, to make it a smooth installation. The last two features are those that you get from Advanced. So the first one has to do with reviews and discussion. So on a quarterly basis, we can spend time with the customer to review what happened in the last quarter, what events occurred, what incidents occurred, what investigations are happening, and make recommendations, potentially how to improve. And secondly, digital forensics. So in the case that there is a breach, some incident responses require forensic information. Well, that can be gathered and collected for our advanced customers. So in terms of identifying the customers, the first thing is size. Like I said, the pricing starts at a baseline of equivalent to up to 50 endpoints. So from 1 to 50, everyone there's a charge. And then after 50, it's a tiered approach. So
I'll make sure I understand what you just said. Is it the total sale has to be over 50 endpoints, or is it from 1 to 50 there's a charge?
The second, from 1 to 50, there's a price.
Okay. So if you're a small business and have 25 endpoints, this is still a product of consideration.
It's still a product. It just gets a little expensive, right? They're going to be paying for 50.
That's fine.
So Scott, 50 is the minimum number right now. They are working on releasing a kind of a different version of this by the middle of 2021 that would actually be for the SMB customer.
Okay.
But those 50 endpoints could be spread across multiple locations. But for our initial launch right now, there does have to be 50 total endpoints, or they're going to pay for them even if they don't use them, right?
Okay.
That's like the entry.
And you all consider an endpoint of any type of Android or Windows device, right? As long as it's not iOS.
As long as it's what, Scott?
Not iOS, an Apple, right?
Right. No iOS. Mac OS is supported, but iOS is not. Right.
Cool. Sorry, continue on.
Sure. And then, so quantity is one. The types of equipment that they want protected, workstations, laptops, servers. And by the way, those servers can be cloud-based or not. So if they have AWS or Google Cloud services, those can be protected as well. And then just the customer's understanding of and their desire to have a next generation antivirus solution better than their traditional antivirus. And so, usually it's the opportunity cost, it's the cost of a breach, it's the idea of keeping their operation going, the cost of downtime, etc. This chart just talks a little bit about the needs, features, and benefits, and it really goes back to the Security Operations Center. It's having those analysts, live, real time, 7x24, protecting the customer's endpoints and their network in a way that they can't get otherwise. We do it economically, efficiently. They don't have to hire on staff. The SOC is all they need. And the SOC has a lot of automation that, again, a lot of small companies would not be able to afford. So when you think that the SOC has greater than 37 intelligence feeds with the security analysts and all the automation that goes with it, they're able to react in as little as seconds or as long as minutes to threats as they evolve. It will certainly replace the traditional antivirus. So, it provides the same features as antivirus, but a whole lot more. So there's advances there. And in terms of compliance, there's many new regulations, either HIPAA or SEPA or financial, where if a customer has to prove compliance and compatibility, they can do so through the reporting and the capabilities provided in this solution. Understanding the greater threat landscape is just, that's what the SOC does. They stay on the cutting edge of all the new threats so that as they identify them, they provide the protection for them. And then, of course, every customer wants to reduce the risk and probability of a breach. So those are the charts that I had prepared for this presentation. In the appendix, there's some frequently asked questions, some statistics, and some comparisons to other endpoint providers.
Excellent.
And then a workflow.
I'm not sure if you sent us this or not, but I definitely want to get a copy of it if that's okay. I do have a couple questions. Can I ask them?
Absolutely.
What made y'all pick Blue Voyant? Where's Blue Voyant based out of? Why did you pick Blue Voyant?
Sure. Blue Voyant started with relationships with Altice, and as Altice looked to get another security offering, we spoke with Blue Voyant, and Blue Voyant is they have a very compelling SOC, and where they're a symbiotic relationship with them, we can help them with some marketing and sales. So it was like a symbiotic relationship.
How is Altice direct sales marketing it today? Are you all doing some sort of, like on every fiber deal that gets sold, do you add in a security brochure, or what's Altice, how are they successfully marketing it?
So out of the gate, we're not incentivizing sales for this product. We think the product is a relevant product, and we think it's very competitively priced. So there are no incentives out of the gate to sell this. I've been at the company for 2 years, and we started with SecureNet and MDPS, and this is like the next progression of our security offerings.
2 questions, and I'm not trying to be stupid, but we do get paid commissions on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you ever hear the word, we're not incentivizing, it's sort of.
Scott, we don't have any special spiffs or kind of promos around it right now, but yes, it's your standard commission plan on the security products.
Beautiful. Does that come from Blue Voyant or does that come from Altice?
From Altice.
Okay, that makes it a lot easier. Spectrum a couple years ago went down a road and did a partnership like that, and that partnership was with another company, and then we got paid commissions from that other company, but then they ended up selling off that other company, and it was just a complete nightmare. So I'm glad it's all together with Altice. So that makes me feel good. Okay, cool. That's it. I mean, I appreciate you keeping it short and simple, and this is exactly what we need. I mean, we do a lot of network sales, and it's helpful when we can basically add fries to it. I think Laura said, we just increase it, especially if we're doing a fiber sale. Why aren't we looking at doing some sort of endpoint security and just asking the question, hey, what are you doing on endpoint security? especially on
Okay.
fiber. So,
All right.
thanks.
Can I take the next 90 seconds to give a quick brief on MDPS and
Sure. Absolutely.
MDPS is Managed DDoS Protective Services. So it's a protection that we sell on our circuits. That one is tied to LT circuits. And it provides protection against volumetric DDoS attacks. That's it. It's a product that they can buy on top of it. So if they buy a 5 gig circuit, they can buy DDoS protection on that 5 gig circuit. So it is not subject to the volumetric DDoS attacks, the most common types of attacks, of DDoS attacks.
That's a pretty unique offering that you guys have right there. I mean,
Right.
that's something that we need to be pushing. Right?
And that protection is linked right in with our core network. So the real competitive advantage is you could buy DDoS protection from a cloud provider, but you're going to have the latencies involved with that. And in our case, we have very, very aggressive latencies. So it's a good product. The second is SecureNet, which is actually a bundle of a circuit, a managed security gateway, which is a Cisco Meraki device, and the MDPS and the managed DDoS protective services. So
Yeah.
there's a price advantage to buying that bundle.
That DDoS program, I guess it basically, customer orders a static IP, then you know that thing's going to be live. You pretty much need the DDoS. Would that mostly be on a fiber circuit or fiber and coax?
No, it's on a fiber DIA circuit.
Fiber DIA only. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
That's
There's certainly, some requirements of the customer, like, they have to have an adequate edge device, to handle a 5 gig circuit and all the you expect from a 5 gig, 5 gigabits per second, 1.5 million packets per second, things like that.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
long as they have that, the DDoS protection is a very powerful tool.
And your advantage of it is it's part of your network and it's not having to go through some third-party cloud provider.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. That's destroy latency or help reduce latency is always good.
Right.
Excellent. You don't have a 1-page or 2-page glossy on that as well, do you?
I do. I want to hesitate giving it to you right now because I'm editing it. It's in revision right now.
That's fine. When you're done with the revision, just send it to me. It's a simple product, but it would be something that I could at least get out to the partners.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent. That's good, Bill. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, please reach out.
Thank you, Laura, for making this happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.